I had to deal with substance abuse and, the tragedies there involved, having that unfold and then coming out the other end and being stable and happy and employed and family and friends. I think the better life has gotten, the better my creative output and the better the band has gotten. So, and again, I don't regret any of it either because, these are all lessons.
What's up, everybody? It's Keefy at ghostcultmag.com, and I am pleased to be joined by Bobby Ferry of 16. How's it going?
Good, good. Nice to be here. Thank you.
Welcome and great to meet you. Longtime fan, first time interview. I don't get to check a lot of these off the bucket list, but 2025 has already proven to be a fun and interesting one for me. Since the band is kind of revived, a little over 15, 16, 17 years ago, you guys have been actually pretty prolific. I don't know if that was a result of the earlier stop start in the career, but like I'm here for it. I love these, please give us more records back to back and belly to belly. Are you particularly inspired? Is it because the plague ended and you had all this creativity to get out?
I think it's more of a practice that you get good at, that like workload, like just the more you put in work, the more kind of rewards it'll give you, regardless of inspiration. Even though I'm still really inspired to write, record, and play live to this day, it's just, one song a month. I sometimes write two songs in one day, sometimes sit around my house and go to my day job for 2 months and don't write anything. It's just kind of like this ethic that I think we've gotten better at as time goes by. And also, the earlier days, the 90s, I think we were very young. I started this band when I was literally a teenager. So, I had to pay my dues in life as well. I had to deal with substance abuse and, the tragedies there involved, of, having that unfold and then coming out the other end, and being stable and happy and employed and family and friends. And you kind of, and so I think the better life has gotten, the better my creative output and the better the band has gotten. So and again, I don't regret any of it either because these are all lessons.
Right on. Guides for the Misguided. What a better title for some life lessons than I can't imagine a better title. Such a good and varied record also. And I appreciate that answer just now. But yeah, what a banger of a record. There's some tremendous variation on this record. I think you guys have always kind of flied in the face of convention. You're not going to be your typical band. You've always been a leader and not a follower in this genre, in the sludge and doom metal genres. I've been like I said, a long time, followed every release, been a fan forever. And not only some inspired originals, but some cool covers as well.
I think we've done it so long that we're on our own little island with each other, that there is no outside pressure for us to do what we do. So, the first and foremost thing is to make something that we all want to hear coming out of speakers. Not like I have like creative goals, like I need to make a song in this style or anything like that. It's just like, like let's write songs. For one, I'm a big fan of being a songwriter, so to speak. I think in metal you can get lost in the riff, but if things aren't arranged and have thematic things, then it's just less interesting. So, I think we've done that for each other and for ourselves. Like, this is what I want to come out of the speakers. But like kind of in a nutshell, sometimes I don't even know other bands exist. Sometimes people compare us to other bands that I've never even heard. And then I go listen to them and I'm a fan. So like, just recently someone compared us to Catatonia or something. I've never heard Catatonia at all, never in my life until this morning. And then I heard them and I was like, oh, they rule. So I'll take that as a compliment. And I'm also going to go dive into Catatonia's, creative output for the past 30 years. So, and that kind of happens a lot. Like, I think I'm inventing something, but clearly I'm not.
I mean, all good. And I'll tell you, I always say about metal, any form of metal, we're like AA. We'll take you in any condition, any shape, any time. Like it's all good,
Yeah.
So don't worry about that. Yeah, Catatonia, you guys could be considered like an American Catatonia. About the same amount of time you guys have been around, and it's so much music out there. We don't, right now we have all the availability. I don't know how good it is, but we have all the availability ever of music. It's infinite, but at the same time it's like it was better when you had to search for it a little and forage a little more and go through the desert of nothing till you found that band. I'm still an album guy. I imagine you are too. I'm still a person. I love entire albums. The singles era wasn't good for me in my listening habits because I want to absorb a whole album. And even when I do these interviews, I go back and I listen to the discography and my favorites and things like that. So I don't know. I imagine you're also an albums person, and I don't imagine you, doing a lot of Spotify.
No, I'm a huge Spotify guy. But I'm like just a huge music person. I have hundreds of records. I just gave away my CDs, but the CDs I gave to Alex, our guitarist, and so he has, thousands of CDs now. I just I didn't even have a working CD player. Like I said, I mean, this morning I just discovered Catatonia. So like, and then like so move into classic rock, move into bands with deep deep discographies, like Deep Purple or something. I just it's almost like an intellectual study. And then there's a social component to it too, because then your friends are telling you like, have you heard this? And you're like, no. And then you hear this, and then you go, like it's like I dig, I dig going to the record stores and digging through stuff. I dig my friends hipping me to things. I dig reading, comments, good and bad, that turn you on to new stuff. And I think it just, for those of us who are hungry for it, it's awesome, and again, like the streaming services, yes, they're absolutely horrible for the artists. But as a consumer, like that's crazy. If you'd have told me when I was 12 years old, I'd have all the world's music in my pocket, I would have never believed you. But now I like plan my day via playlist or albums when I'm working. If I'm not on the phone talking to somebody, I'm delving into albums that I've either like revisiting since childhood or literally discovering something that just somehow slipped under my radar. And we're all kind of like that too. Like collectively, I think we influence each other with, have you check this out?
Right
You
on.
know,
Do you have a favorite local record store you want to give a shout out? We should check out when we're in your town.
we're in San Diego, so the big record store. I mean, there's actually quite a few. There's M Theory Records in San Diego is one of my favorite. There's Lose Records in Encinitas, which is huge. And then, of course, if you go up to LA and you go up to San Francisco, there's Amoeba, which, Amoeba could be like a 4 hour, 200 or $300 trip, depending on how I'm doing that month economically. But it's just, it's the record stores are just like an awesome thing for community now. And vinyl still has that magic.
Right on. And your records are now coming out on vinyl. Relapsed, as a shout out to Relapse. They do a wonderful job on all the physical stuff. Yeah, I live in San Francisco. Amoeba, San Fran, or Berkeley is very dangerous for me personally to go in. It's not a casual thing. It's like a it's definitely not a friends with benefits. It's a relationship. Good times though. I really love where the last two records, I feel like you're stretching out a lot vocally just to talk about the music for a little bit more. And I wanted to say that, like, yeah, I really appreciate how, in a great way, how all over the map you are. There's actual singing. There's great, like growl type stuff here. There's some very dark, chanty. I don't know if it's quite chanting, but it's chant like melodies. I like it. I like this record. I think actually as I got deeper into the record, the middle few songs are my favorite, and I think that they're like all a little distinctly different. Proudly Damned, the single and the video, which was amazing. Fire and Brimstone and Desperation Angel, I had like ticked off on my notes.
It's not a conscious thing. I think that we start collectively, we got influenced by tighter song structures. And, personally, I'm a big fan of like Devo Freedom of Choice, Blondie Parallel Lines, The Knack, most Elvis Costello. I'm a big fan of that era of songwriting because of the structures and the tightness of the structures. And I think that's kind of missing in metal structurally. So I think that had an influence on us collectively, especially on some of those songs, the Desperation Angel, and then the Fire and Brimstone Inc. I mean, literally, that song was called Thin Lizzy before it even had a title. So, we're all, I don't care. I've been in bands. I've been in this band for God 30 years, and it's like every time you write a song, you're like, which one is this? Oh, it's the Sabbath one, or it's the Slayer one, or it's even like, we get a little weirder, like with Hot Snakes or something. It's this song, it's so. I think that maybe that we wore our influences on our sleeves and let things naturally influence us.
Right on. I love that Thin Lizzy mention. A huge Thin Lizzy fan, and of course, unfortunately, we're talking the same week that John Sykes
John
passed
Sykes,
away from Later Day Lizzy, and just such a huge fan of his work in Lizzy
yeah,
and
with
Tigers and Pantang and Blue
White
Murder.
Snake.
The White Snake record. I mean, I know people love Vandenberg, as you should, because if you love guitar shit, right? But like Sykes wrote those songs, man. Like Adrian
Yep,
came in and put on his stamp, right? Like Here I Go Again, that guitar solo. But like Sykes actually wrote like Bad Boys and a lot of the, like
yep.
Still the Night and stuff is his riffs. So huge and important. And
Oh
what a
man, that
shame.
that Thin Lizzy, Thunder and Lightning. Holy shit,
Yeah,
that
man.
records. I mean, I'm a huge fan of. Well, I mean, I was a huge fan of John Sykes, but just that era of guitarists who can do everything with zero pedals and their pinky on the volume, like true professionals that just play to the song and stand there smiling while playing the most difficult shit. It's a sight to behold even today.
I get it, man. I love it. I love it. We can nerd out all day about this stuff. You like obviously years go by and there was a hiatus, and now, like I said, the band's been very prolific and proactive the last, however many years. Obviously, writing songs is a thing. It's not a chore, it's a labor of love. But like,
Yeah.
do you find yourself like it's important to keep challenging yourself, the rest of the guys too, to just keep making it interesting for you, or you would just not bother, or is it like, oh, it's also work?
It's not work. It's not work at all. It's literally going to happen no matter what. That's just, I'm at home, I'm in a room surrounded by records and guitars in front of my computer, in front of amps. This is the path I've chosen in life. These are the path. These are, these are the my friends are in the same path that are in the band. We're going to do this regardless of any external thing, just because, man, it's, just like we're just total old music heads. I'm not, like I always thought I would change when I was like 15 years old. I thought I'd become something different, but I'm the exact same person obsessing over Master of Puppets, that I was, and by Brains Eye Against Eye and all that stuff in that era. I'm literally the same person still obsessing about records that some are brand new, I mean, it's just, I've accepted that this is me. I was imprinted at that age with hardcore and punk and heavy metal, and here I am, the
Yeah, absolutely.
man I am today.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it shows. It shows in this album. It shows in your work. Again, I love these covers. Very inspired. Like I think Bad Brains is a group everybody kind of agrees about, like Ramones or Misfits. But Superchunk, I still feel is super underrated. And like obviously, if you love guitar, great guitar shit, you want to be a Superchunk fan. I tell that to people all the time.
You know, Superchunk was a thing that was like, I don't think a lot of people in the metal space would even check out. But I saw them live a few times when I was in high school, and then they had that split with I believe Drive Like Jehu, the Bullet Train to Vegas, and that album, No Pocky for Kitty. It's just a total, I've had that CD and that album for 35 years now. And songs are songs, regardless of stylistic, and those lyrics rule. you know, and the riffs rule. It's just it's just the way they're presented. So I like to think that I'm kind of hopefully turning some people on to them. If not, they'll like the interpretation that we've done.
Right on. Chances are there's a call center call coming in right now for you. If you own that Superchunk record, you probably owe money to Columbia House still for this day. And
Pretty much.
but I'm like you. I like to get my stuff in the stacks and flip through records in the stores and stuff like that. So yeah, good stuff. You guys are going on the road, heading over to Europe before some more stuff. Anything else going on this year you can share, or anything else you're excited about?
Nothing is planned other than Europe. We'll be there for 3 weeks. We leave next week. After that, we're wide open. I'm sure something always happens. Something, just like the plans will reveal themselves. Right now, we have a plan for the next month to get over to Europe to release this record, to play live as much as possible. After that, we kind of just take it as it comes, and usually it does come. So we don't have to be super proactive about the planning. It'll just kind of happen on its own. And if, our job was to just make something good, and if we make something good, then the rest kind of happens. I'm a firm believer in that. Like, the music comes first, and then, if it's relevant and sticks to the wall, then you're going to get gigs.
Right on. Good philosophy. Good way to end this. Bobby Ferry, a super pleasure to meet you and finally get one of these done with you. Hails on the new 16 album coming soon from Relapse Records. Guides for the Misguided is definitely a record we need right now in this time. And again, thanks so much for hanging out with Ghost Cult. I really appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much.
All right. See you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.